Hi, and welcome to this screencast tutorial. We're going to kind of walk you through some of the basics of how to use Twitter, introduce you to a couple applications that you could use as alternatives to Twitter, and then kind of give you the concept or the steps for creating a list where you could actually compile different folks on Twitter without actually following them, or even create you a list or a column in one of the browsers, which will be TweetDeck, that compiles all tweets from folks on the internet when they're using one particular hashtag. So let's get started. Right now we're taking a look at twitter.com itself. I've logged in. This is where you can create and post tweets straight from there. You can add an image and tweet out an image, or do a location of where you're at. Now up here are the number of tweets you sent, the number of people you're following, and the number that are following yourself. So let's take a look at who I'm following. The reason I bring this up a lot of the time is I go out and look at all of these other folks and who they follow and get ideas from there. But let me show you who's I'm following. I won't go through obviously all of them since you're looking at 1,000 of them. But here would be the list of all kinds of different folks that I'm following. This is one way of finding other people out there that you might want to add to your resource of folks that you're following to increase your PLN. So what you would just do is look at who they're following, click on that person's name. So for example, let's say you want to look at Mrs. Carter here. Here's Mrs. Carter's profile. It gives you information about who they are, which many of you have done a very good job of putting stuff into your bio. You always want to make sure that you fill out a bio, put an image up there, and make sure your bio gives some insight of who you are and you as an educator, what you may want to teach, and maybe some of the key things that you feel that are positive as an educator. Once you have decided you wanted to follow them, just click on follow, or in this case you'll notice it's blue saying I'm already following them. Here's their list of who they're following and who's following them. So you can kind of see how this wheel just kind of keeps evolving and growing deeper and deeper in different ways you can reach folks. Now, the other thing is that let's say you don't want to follow that person, but you want to create a list of educators. Maybe let's say since Mrs. Carter here is a language arts teacher, I'm going to create a list of language art teachers. Well, click on their profile, go right down here to add or remove from lists, and then you'll notice I have 3 lists that I've created and working on. But let's say we're going to create a new list. We're going to go English teachers. You can make your list private or public and hit Save List. Now we'll click here and say, once you've clicked here, you've added them to the list. That's all you need to do. So there's a few ways of being able to go in, find your folks that you may want to follow, or how to create a list without following them, but yet being able to get what they do. So you could take a look at lists. And like I said, here are the lists. Now, let me show you the one that I use with my college students, the TnC356. Here are all of the different students that have created their own Twitter accounts, and we've added them to the group listing. So, how again do we do that? Well, let me go back in here to my home page. I'm going to go to those following me. and I'm going to scroll down. So these are all the different people following me that I could add to lists or in turn follow back. So for example, followers, K-12 Online's following me, so I want to follow them back because that's a great resource site for a week-long online professional development free of charge. We'll scroll through here, and again, here's everybody. So let's say I'm going to go with David Seda here. I'm going to add him to our list. So I'm clicking here, add and remove from a list. I'm clicking on TnC356. Now he's officially on that list, and there you go. Those are some of the overlooks of how to follow somebody or how to add to a list, create a list. Now up here you'll notice I can click on @ and what this is different, everything that's come to me. Here's all the people that have recently started following me. Here are people that have tweeted out to me. You could see how somebody like Paul Shercliffe from Ohio here has retweeted a tweet of mine. Or here's Nora or Mrs. Nor. She's created this little paper.li site that takes all the people that she follows on Twitter and every day creates a virtual newspaper. Let me show you that virtual newspaper. Okay, now here is Mrs. Nor's paper.li. This is all done automatically. So the folks that she follows, this site, paper.li, actually creates these layouts and it collects them and automatically organizes them for you. And then it tweets it out. It's kind of a cool little thing of creating a virtual newspaper, going paperless, all based on the tweets and resources of folks that you follow or topics that you follow. Now back in here, you'll notice these are different things for Twitter's hashtags to discover, or here are me. So these are different things that I have sent out. And that shows you the last few things. A lot of the time I like going in there and looking at what other people have been sending so I can kind of have an idea if they're a type of person that tweets a lot about education or just tweets about, hey, I'm down at the supermarket, hey, I'm headed to Walmart, going to bed, good night, you know, those type of things. What you'll notice here, this is private messages. So we'll click on a direct message. This is only between me and someone else. And you'll notice a variety of people and I have interacted in private discussions. Where these have been incoming, those are outgoing messages. Incoming, outgoing, so on. So it kind of gives you an idea. Or you can click here and send a new message to somebody. You just start typing their name. And then you can get on here. And then there you go. You'll notice that Wes and I have had some conversations going on in a direct DM concept. So that's a quick overview on some of the different ways to look at different pieces of Twitter. Again, here's trends. You know, if you're being tweeted about a lot, you start trending. They always will recommend some folks for you to follow. But now I want to take you to a couple options that you could use to download and run and not have to have Twitter running in the browser, but as a standalone application if you would prefer. The first one is TweetDeck. You notice that you could download and install this on Windows or a Mac. And this kind of gives you an overview of what it looks like. Another one that's pretty popular with PC users is Hootsuite. This is another one that allows you to create columns and send messages, post stuff from a variety of different resources, but I'm going to focus on TweetDeck. Now, I don't have the TweetDeck application itself installed. I'm actually running TweetDeck from within the Google Chrome browser. So let me kind of walk you through the new layout. Timeline. These are everybody that I follow on Twitter. When they tweet something out in a public way, this is it. Now you'll notice on here on John Samuelson's, see how it has the @ sign and then Klein Aaron, or for Aaron Klein, and then @Erasma. Those are, by using the @, that's how you send it to somebody. You'll notice the #, that's the hashtag that we've talked about. Here's the mention, so again, anyone that has included me in a tweet will show up here. Here's the direct messages. Now, hashtags, the little # like we said for ISD13 here. You'll notice every one of these next few columns that I'm going to point out to you are a different hashtag. So anyone that tweets something using the hashtag NTChat shows up in this column. Anyone that uses the hashtag EduCoach, EdChat, TechCoach, or the Discovery Education Network DinChat hashtag. Here's TieChat for technology integration, 21st Education Chat, EdApps, Flip Classroom, everything. You could just see how I can scroll throughout here and do things. Now, the other way I could also do this is, instead of having to scroll sideways, I just start clicking right here and it focuses and brings up that column. I can click right here and notice my columns, my lists show up. But I want to add a column. So I'm going to click on the plus sign and I'm going to go from my lists will be a new column. And in this case, we're going to put a new column for everybody on the TnC356 and hit add column. And now you'll notice that everybody that I have on that list, everything's right there. Now obviously if you look through there, you'll see some retweets from other folks. So yes, sometimes you need to kind of filter through your stuff. Like here's David's. Here's his 7 Ed Texts for U.S. History Classroom, one of them that we'd shared with him in a class. But you can this is just another great way of collecting things. So let me go over here, and what we're going to do right now is quickly show you how to send that tweet from TweetDeck and how it shows up in the columns. So I'm going up here in the top blue, and we're just going to send this message. And we're going to put another one on here. Now you'll notice how you have a negative. You're limited to 140 characters. So we can delete this, and now we can cleanly send our message. So now you can see, here's my message sent. Here's how it's included on the screencast because of the NT chat. And then right over here, in a moment it'll refresh. Sometimes it takes a little bit to refresh, and you'll see it in the listing. But there you go. Just a quick overview of Twitter, TweetDeck, and also the mentioning of Hootsuite for PC. Looking forward to catching you on the PLN.